Hello everyone, and welcome to Knife Craze. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at one of the most famous hunting knives ever created. This is the Buck 110 Folding Hunter. Now, the Buck 110 Folding Hunter has been around since the mid-1960s, when Buck started to get multiple complaints from hunters saying that the larger Buck 120 General or Buck 119 Fixed Blade was too large and messy for field dressing an animal. Not only that, it was heavy, and hunters just didn't like having all that weight on their belt. Don't know why. I prefer a mid-range weight blade. I like to feel it there, I like to know if it's on me, and I like to know if I've dropped it. But they complained, said they want something equally efficient, yet easier to carry. And from that request came a Buck 120 General. Now, I'm just going to start with the sheath, get that out of the way. The sheath is genuine leather. This isn't a custom sheath. This is how you're going to receive it when you buy it. Unless you get it secondhand and maybe you only get the knife. Now personally, I've had this knife for about 2 years now, maybe even 3, and I just use some black leather shoe polish on it just to touch it up. And the leather is kind of worn, but like I said, it's because I've had it for several years now, and I've been taking care of it, but I've also worn it a few times. So I didn't receive it all beat up like this. I received this in like perfect condition. Impeccable condition, absolutely beautiful, not a damn thing wrong with it. The belt loop is still on there nice and tight thanks to their really good stitching they do. You know, they don't do their sheaths cheap, they take their time, they do it right. So if you have a buck leather sheath, it's probably not going to fall apart on you unless you're purposely trying to ruin it. It does have a brass button snap, so no Velcro. And like you see right there, it does say sheath made in Mexico. Now, there's a lot of bad things coming out of Mexico, but one of those things is not the Buck 110 Folding Hunter sheath, or any of Buck's sheaths. And just for the record, when I say there's a lot of bad things coming out of Mexico, I'm talking about the drugs and the guns, alright? If you come here legally, I have no problem with you, as long as you do it by the laws of the country that you're trying to emigrate to, or immigrate to, whatever term you use for that. Okay, so there's the sheath, nothing much too special about it, besides the fact it's awesome. Now onto the knife itself. So, I gotta tell you, the knife is actually really heavy. It's maybe, I don't know, my hand's not a scale, so I can't really tell, but there is some definite weight to it. Enough so that if you're carrying it in your pocket, you're gonna know it's there. And if it's in the sheath, you're probably going to know it's there too, just because it has that weight. You're going to notice when this thing is and is not in your pocket. It is a lockback design, which of course is great. It's my favorite type of locking mechanism, mostly because it just gives added strength. I mean, I'm not saying it's indestructible. Any type of knife locking system can be broke if it's put under enough force. Even those cold steel knives, which personally, you know, I think their folding knives are a bit of a gimmick. I think they're doing something to the knife on those videos which allows the knife to hold up 500 pounds of weights. But anyway, yeah, lockback is one of the stronger ones you can get for a knife. Now, the blade is actually pretty long, pretty big for a folding knife. This is about, I want to say maybe, well, it's longer than the palm of my hand, which means I couldn't legally carry it in Ontario, Canada. But yeah, the blade is about 4.5 inches long. So you're getting a pretty big blade on this thing. So if you're legally allowed to carry this, I highly recommend it. You know, a good self-defense blade, especially if you're in a country where the government doesn't take away your self-defense rights like Canada, this is honestly a great choice. You have that clip point blade, and not only that, it's falsely sharpened on the back to bring that tip down to an even sharper point. This would be great for self-defense. Somebody tries mugging you, you shove this into his ribs, he is not going to fuck with you. He's going to wimp away, bleeding onto the cement, and he's probably going to die in a back alley. Now, the blade is pretty thick. It's actually thicker than another buck knife I have, the Buck 876. Now, I mean, looking at this same distance away, you will notice that the buck is actually a bit thicker, which is surprising because this is a fixed blade and this is a folder. On the blade, you also have a thumb nick there to help get the blade out, and you have your typical buck markings. which include but are not limited to Buck USA 50. Oh, that looks like it's about it. Okay, anyway, onto the grips. You got these beautiful brass bolsters, which just really make it look nice. Personally, I wish I knew how to shine these up like brand new. Unfortunately, I do not know how to do that. You do get these really nice wood lacquered slabs on there. You know, this is just a beautiful knife. It's a classic design. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm absolutely in love with this knife. You got your knife storage compartment in there, your blade storage compartment, all sealed in thanks to the lock back, so you know you're going to get less lint in there than if you would on a liner lock. Essentially, to close this knife, you press on that tab on the back, and then you close it. And there you go. Buck 110 Folding Hunter. Now, my personal opinions about this knife are that this knife is absolutely awesome. It's been around for a while and it's been carried through generations for a reason, because it works. So I'm absolutely in love with this knife. My rating of this knife is, for a folding knife, 10 out of 10 stars. This is what a folding knife should be. It shouldn't be some wimpy, lightweight little tactical mall ninja piece of crap that you get on Bud K. This is what a folding knife should be. It should have some weight to it. Now, it shouldn't be as heavy as a fucking boulder, but, you know, it should have some weight to it. It should feel quality just by picking it up. It should have a reasonably thick blade, and it should have a sharp blade, 420HC by the way, which is what it uses. It should have a sharp blade that you can sharpen easily, that can hold an edge very well, and for a long time. And I really like that clip point because in a self-defense situation, like I said, this can enter the rapist, mugger, or attacker even easier than any other type of blade. So I highly recommend the clip point. Absolutely amazing. So there you go, guys. There's my slightly offensive, slightly brash, and in-your-face review of the Buck 110 Folding Hunter. So, rock on.